What's up, everybody? This is George Penyak with Penyak Travel. I'm here with Janet Penyak, Senior Travel Consultant, owner of Penyak Travel.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, didn't mean to cut you off there, but this is show number 2 of the Know Before You Go travel show. And wherever you're listening to us, at whether it be Apple Podcast Player, Google, all the places that we are, make sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe if you like the content. You know, our last show we covered St. Lucia. We covered our thoughts on cruising versus an all-inclusive and some travel news. And now we are going to cover today, and I think this is good timing for this episode because it's kind of wedding season, right? It's summer, we're getting into fall. Wedding season is here. We're actually about to do a bridal show coming up, and we're going to have a nice 20 by 10 booth or something there with all of our team, which would be really cool. But on this show, because we're in wedding season, let's do a show on the top 3 resort brands for honeymooners. What do you think?
Yes, sounds good. We're also going to cover some of the top and most popular destinations in the Caribbean that I recommend based on your budget and what exactly you're looking to do. So,
yeah, we want to give options. So there's various budgets out there for couples getting. I mean, obviously you're getting married. That's usually pretty expensive, and then you get the honeymoon to pay for. There's a lot of things that go into a wedding, but the honeymoon's the best part. Well, in our opinion, obviously the wedding's really great, but the honeymoon's like the decompressing after the big. I remember when we got married, it was like so much attention and detail on what's on the napkins and everything and all the planning, and it goes pretty quick.
Yes, and that whole week leading up to it, it's so stressful, and so for a honeymoon, I recommend going to an island where you can lay around, relax, and decompress from all the craziness of the wedding and really, enjoy the time with your new husband or wife. So
exactly. Now, before we start, I know you always have a really good bit of advice for people about to book their honeymoon or go on their honeymoon. Exactly, and it's around when they go after their wedding. What do you usually recommend?
My top recommendation is do not leave the day after your wedding.
Yes.
Wait a day or two. You got to think your reception's going to go, usually well into the night. And most of the flights that are going to jet you down to the Caribbean, they're all in the morning or late morning. You got to be at the airport 2 hours before. So, if you have an 8 a.m. flight, you got to be there at 6 a.m. That means you have to wake up really early. And it's just not a good way to start. And I have actually had, even after recommending not to do that, I have had some couples who missed their flight. And, you just don't want to start your honeymoon out that way.
Yes, you definitely don't want to miss your flight on your way to your honeymoon. You only get one honeymoon, at least for most couples.
Hopefully.
The divorce rate is very high. Some people go on a couple different ones. But yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. You're up late. You're tired. You're seeing everyone. It's almost a blur. Like our wedding, we had all of our loved ones there, all of our friends. It was incredible. And then you see, you're just talking to everyone, and it's an exhausting event. So
yes,
chances are you're probably going to sleep a little harder than you normally do after it's all said and done. And the last thing you want to do is have that alarm go off at 4:30, 5:30, 6:30 in the morning and try to catch a 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock flight.
Right.
We have got, and if that happens, it's a great thing you booked with a travel agent, because if you do miss your flight, call us up, and we have had it happen, and we can help clients out there. But we try to avoid that if possible. If they can make it, and just hey, if you get married on a Saturday, maybe leave for your honeymoon on Monday.
Yes.
Decompress, use that Sunday to relax. And then that's usually where our couples have the best time, because they're not as rushed.
Right.
So a lot of loose ends to button up when you do something like that. But anyways, let's jump into, now we're going to do the top 3 resort brands here. These are in no order. I mean, I guess we could rank them a little bit, but they're so different and unique. It's really about your personality, which is what a good travel agent would do for you, is, figure out your personality, your needs, and put you at the best resort. And you won't get that off of Google reviews and stuff like that. But
right.
But anyways, go ahead and fire away. Which one do you want to start with here?
So first I will start with the Excellence Resorts. It's a great adults-only brand. Highly recommend it for honeymooners. They're usually pretty budget-friendly as well. There's 2 in Punta Cana, and then you've got 2 in Mexico, and the Riviera Maya side of Mexico. But they're great, adults only, like I said. They are geared towards couples because there's usually only like one room category that has 2 queen beds, so everything else is all kings, so it's geared towards couples. But
that's good.
Yeah, it's a great budget friendly resort. Has great dining options, a lot of activities included, and that would be one of the first ones that I would recommend.
Yeah, and so how many resorts are out there that are how many resorts are in the Excellence portfolio? About of the Excellence, it's 4, but then they also have a family brand called Finest, and they have that over in Mexico as well. But like I said, it's family brand, so I wouldn't send a honeymooner there. Yeah, and see, there's I think a lot of people will end up, like, if you don't know that, that's a big deal. Like, we've gone to family resorts where they might not be family resorts, but you will look at it on paper and say, oh, that looks like a beautiful place to honeymoon. But then you show up and there's kids around, and then you might have a bachelor or bachelorette party, and with you on your honeymoon, or people at the pool that are bachelor or bachelorette parties or something. And most honeymoon couples just want to be intimate. Couples only, adults only is the way to go. You do have that one room category there that's obviously not couples if you have 2 queens, right? Unless you're not getting along, but, which we hope you're not doing that in paradise. That's a really good point. So what would be if you had to pick a resort within that portfolio that's pretty budget friendly, and which one do you usually book the most? I like the Excellence El Carmen. Okay. And that's in the Dominican Republic. It's newer. It just opened a couple years ago. But it has a fresh contemporary look. Looks very modern. And so generally speaking, when someone comes to me and, tells me that they're interested in planning a honeymoon, that is one of the first resorts that I recommend. Interesting. So you recommend that. And then also Punta Cana, right? It's budget friendly on a flight too. Aren't those typically out of the Southeast region better price? I could be wrong. They tend to price about the same as Jamaica, but all of the resorts there overall are a lot more budget friendly than many other destinations that you'll find in the Caribbean, and pretty much all the resorts there are also all inclusive. So the Dominican Republic is it's a great option. If you say you've got $3,000 and you want to do a week down in the Caribbean for your honeymoon, if during the off season in the fall, you could probably do that in the Dominican Republic. Oh, interesting. Okay, and $3,000 will get you, and it's all inclusive too. So that includes your food and alcohol beverages, which is usually when couples go on honeymoons and they don't go all inclusive. You have to factor that in, 'cause that's a lot of money you're going to spend on a couple drinks at dinner, and then all the food and all that stuff. It is nice, I think that's why we send so many of our clients, at least, that are talking to us about honeymoons. I mean, all inclusive is just put your wallet away and really just enjoy yourself. And people that haven't been to an all-inclusive resort, we've been to tons of them, they don't realize that it's not just like a buffet. You literally have restaurants to choose from on site, and most of your good properties have different concepts, right? They have different Asian, like Asian, Mexican, American, Italian, and there are some resorts out there all inclusive that you'll find that mostly what they have is buffets. Yeah, but you always get what you pay for in travel. Exactly, you truly always get what you pay for. We get and Excellence is not one of those. So. Yeah, we would never recommend that resort typically for honeymooners. We really don't book much of that if it doesn't have freestanding individual restaurants with quality food. But you'll see deals I see these deals online, and they're $700 per person, all inclusive. That's a loosely tossed around word in our industry. It's all inclusive experience. Right. Yeah, you might get, I think I said this on the last podcast, you might get a keg of beer on a beach with a guy flipping hamburgers, and technically it's all you can eat, all you can drink, and they can brand themselves all inclusive. Right. But what are you paying for? You always get what you pay for, so we're always hesitant when we see, I hate seeing and they do a good job of branding online. These companies do a great job marketing themselves as all-inclusives, but we know that we see the price, and I know the quality's not there. I wouldn't even waste PTO days or a flight in my time going down to some of these places. You really got to know what you're getting into.
Right. Yep. You have to be very careful. So,
Yeah.
and that's why, you should use a travel agent because
we're getting a lot of travel agent plugs.
I
That's
can
okay.
help you decide and, decipher between all of those. So,
And we cost exactly the same as what you would pay for online. We don't cost anything more. We typically get paid by our vendors through the property, kind of like buying a house. Very clean, very easy. Oh, we got our dog in the studio, Lucky here, enjoying the podcast. How you doing, girl? Be good. Okay, so let's move on. So we covered excellence here, or at least that's one of our top spots.
Mm-hmm.
Brand in no order, just
brand number 2 that I suggest are the Secrets Resorts.
Okay.
And they are part of the AM Resorts family, and Secrets is the adults-only part of that. And then, you're looking for a family brand, you would look over at the Dreams or the Now. They also have the Sunscape, but I don't like those properties, to be honest with you. So, but the Secrets, there are several of those in the Dominican Republic, and as well as 2 in Jamaica, and then they have multiple in Mexico. Great properties, adults only. It's not couples only, but I definitely recommend the resort just because of quality. The food's very good, the service is good. They have all the activities that you could want, and overall, they're just a great resort brand. So, great option for a honeymoon.
Yeah, we've been to Secrets, and we've been to a handful of. You've been to a lot more than me, but I know that we've traveled and been to some secret properties and Secrets, and the food quality, I gotta say, was incredible. Like, I just remember their food and their dining options. I mean, they had freestanding restaurants everywhere. I mean, these properties are huge. If you haven't been, they're massive. I mean, they sit on, we've dozens of acres.
Oh yeah.
And then you just walk, and there's these beautiful Italian restaurants and different cuisines. And I just remember the Secrets in Jamaica. Which one was that? Which one?
Yeah, well,
was that Montego Bay?
It's basically 2 in 1, but yeah, they're in Montego Bay. So
that food quality there was unbelievable.
Oh,
I really enjoyed going to the different restaurants, and we always gauge things by the breakfast buffet a lot. Like, how good's your breakfast buffet? If you have, and in in a lot of the Caribbean islands, they'll eat spicy food. They'll put authentic cuisine in there, so you have a couple spicy food options and all this cool stuff. When you see stuff like that with the eggs Benedict and all that, and coffee mimosas, then you're at a good resort.
Right.
This isn't continental breakfast material. When some of these quote unquote all inclusives might give you,
right,
God,
and
Lord knows what. We don't go to them, but
Yeah, and what? One of the things I really loved about the Secrets in Jamaica is where the restaurants are. That resort kind of sits out on a peninsula, and so where the restaurants are, you can sit there and look back at the island and see the water with the mountains, and it's so beautiful. But those are called Secrets St. James and
That's right, St. James,
Secrets Wild Orchid. So, and then they also, and I forgot to mention this, but that brand of resorts does have another adults only called Breathless, and they have that in Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and they just built it next to the 2 Secrets resorts in Jamaica, and those are great. Also, like I said, adults only. It's just the biggest difference in that is it's more party focused. You're always going to have an upbeat atmosphere. They do phone parties at the resort. Yeah, a lot of nightlife. And so for a honeymoon, though, I think that the Secrets are a little more romantic. But you know what? If you are a couple that likes to go out and have a great time and
meet other couples, more social,
rage, then you might like the Breathless, but either one of those are great, but I tend to prefer the Secrets and recommend those for the honeymoons.
That's really good advice. So those are the little things that people might not know about specific properties, because there is a big difference from property to property, even brand to brand, that if you're looking for a very intimate experience, a very romantic experience, you might not want to go to a Breathless. You might want to look at an alternative property. But if you're just browsing the internet, it doesn't necessarily, those little things, it's hard. Those are hard to find. And so yeah, all good stuff here. So now, did we cover those? Should we go on to number 3 or
not number?
I don't want to call it number 3 because this is my personal favorite.
Well, yeah, it's my personal favorite also, just the brand, but Sandals Resorts. I absolutely love them. They're couples only, adults only. They've got 16 on a bunch of different islands, and each of them has their own personality, and all the resorts are different. The islands are different,
and they have resort, like more resort feels. So like I remember.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
it
doesn't feel like a hotel.
It's not one big building.
Yeah, most of them, like you just feel
it's like
cottages. You're in a village. Yeah, and
there's a number of different buildings throughout the property.
And I love that because you don't feel like you're at a hotel.
Yeah, and they're like 3 or 4 stories tall max. There's never that many.
Right.
They're never that high, and there's these little villages, and they're all spread out through these properties, and some of them are near restaurants, some of them are ocean view, right? I mean, there's all sorts. There's something for for a room category, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. And, and back with the excellence and the secrets, they have all sorts of different room categories. And then you have like their basic distinction, though, is, you have your lead-in rooms, and then you have the Excellence Club is what it's called, and you get extra perks and privileges, and then at Secrets it's called the Preferred Club, and then over at Sandals they have like your lead-in luxury rooms, and then you have club level rooms, and then butler rooms, and you'll see when you look at a lot of their resorts, it's like, oh my gosh, there's 25 room categories, but they do a really good job of distinguishing the rooms, so you'll know exactly where you're going to be, on the resort whenever you book into a certain room.
Yeah, and I remember we personally honeymooned at a Sandals, and we did get the butler. This is actually before we were even in the travel business, right. But we went to Sandals and had a butler, and that made you fall in love with traveling, I think. I think the experience, because now butlers, they're more expensive. I mean, it's probably the top room category in most Sandals, but the amount of service that we got from that butler was unbelievable. I mean...
Oh, it is. I mean, you get 2 butlers that are assigned to you throughout your stay, sometimes 3, but they work in shifts, and it's 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and they're just there to cater to your every need. So, restaurant reservations, if you want beach chairs or pool chairs reserved for you, they'll do that and set up a cooler with some beer and champagne. I remember several times coming back, and the butler had a bubble bath set up in our jacuzzi tub with rose petals and a bottle of champagne. So they're just there to make your stay that much more special. And, I get asked a lot, well, I don't want them barging in on me. Are they going to, just be
following me around?
No, they don't do that. They have a cell phone, and they'll actually give you a cell phone when you check in. And so anything you need at all, if you're lounging on the beach and you want them to bring you a pizza or something, you don't want to go get it, just call the butler and he'll go get it for you. But they're there, they give maximum, the best service with minimum intrusion.
Yeah. When one of my favorite things the butler did for us whenever we were on our honeymoon, and we've had a couple different butlers since then because we've fallen in love with it, is I love calling them the night before, like right before we go to bed, and ask them to come in the morning and set up breakfast for us on our balcony. And they'll come in there. You just tell them what time you usually wake up, and they come knocking on the door, whether it's 8 o'clock or whenever you wake up, and they have a white tablecloth, and they already have a table out there, and most of them already have tables on the balconies, and they put the white tablecloth over your balcony, and they literally brought out all the items that we wanted for breakfast. We told them eggs and pancakes and coffee and fruit and mimosas. They brought fresh mimosas, and they just set it up, and it's white glove. I mean, they're in their tuxes and white gloves, and then they leave, and it's just very private. And it was so nice to have that experience. It was just really cool, and it was very intimate and romantic, and I think that's the feel and probably why we do like Sandals a little bit more. It just seems just a little more romantic at most of the resorts on average. Now, you have resorts within the portfolio that, hey, if you want to party, you can probably party. There's some party resorts.
Sandals Ochi and Ocho Rios, they have something for everyone there, and I recommend that resort for destination weddings because it's perfect for a group. So
we can get down a rabbit hole with destination weddings, and
they actually have a bar there called the Rabbit Hole. So that's funny you said that.
Oh, do they? That's hilarious. Okay, that's no pun intended with that then. For those that are aware, that's there. But I think we could almost talk about destination weddings on a a whole different episode. But we can touch on them now. I mean, we do have a webinar coming up. So Penyak Travel, I do got to give ourselves a little plug. We do have a webinar coming up that if you're honeymooning soon or considering honeymooning, go to our Facebook page or go to our website, penyaktravel.com.
Or if you're just planning an anniversary trip, romantic getaway, you can join in on this too. It's not just for honeymooners, but since we're doing a bridal show and it's going to be the week after the bridal show, we're kind of focusing. We're calling it Honeymoon Happy Hour.
It's a honeymoon happy hour webinar, and you can literally sign up on a link so you can sit there in the comfort of your own home, and we're going to do a live presentation on every resort within the Sandals portfolio and every island and talk about what's different and what's unique. And we're also going to cover beaches too, which is the family brand. The family brand. So you might not want to honeymoon there, but I think people do still. But it's going to be really cool. And then also
lasts about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. And so, and what's the date and time again? Eastern?
So it's Tuesday, July 31st at 7 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, it'll be about 45 minutes to an hour. And then we have our representative, Melissa from Sandals, who is going to go over the short presentation. So grab a beer, grab a glass of wine, and, chill on the couch and just go through these resorts. It's really fun to learn about them. And
learning about the islands too, because she'll go a little bit into the islands a little bit, which I like. And
yeah. And going back to our honeymoon, I wasn't even in the travel industry yet, but I actually saw one of these presentations, and it's when I fell in love with St. Lucia, and that's when I decided that is exactly where we were going for our honeymoon. So one other thing with this is if you do end up making a reservation with a deposit within 2 weeks of the event, so I think it's like August 14th, as long as it's a qualifying room, 6 nights or longer, club level or higher.
Which is most honeymooners.
Oh, right, yeah. Then you'll get a $250 spa credit added onto your reservation, and that's pretty much enough for a couple's massage. So,
okay, let's talk about our couple's massage story. So we did one. Was it on our honeymoon?
Yes.
And I don't know. I've never, I'm a guy. I don't get massages all the time, but this sounded awesome. This is actually one of the first professionally done massages I think I've ever had. And they give you the robe, you go into the Red Lane Spa, which is an awesome spa there, and they kind of separate us because you go to the girls' locker room.
They go. You go to the ladies, and then the men go to the men's locker room.
Yeah.
And then you can get undressed and put on your robe.
Yes, you prepare for the massage.
Right.
I've never done this before, and I'm sure there's nothing wrong with going fully naked, but I just thought, hey, this is a massage. I'm going to go full nude here. So, I mean, it's a couple's massage. And so I had my robe on because I thought, you get a robe, you go naked. And then I found out you weren't fully naked. When we met again, we had the robes. We had our robes on. We're about to go in the room.
I recommend keeping your underwear on.
I mean, do whatever you want. I mean, it's everyone's got that's a very personal choice. It's a very personal choice. But I remember we both met after we got ready for the massage. We both met in the room, and you looked at me and how did that go down? I can't remember. You're like, "Are you wearing anything?" And I said, "No." Are you wearing something? And you're like, "Yeah, I left my underwear on." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't. I'm fully nude." And then I was like, "I'm going back and getting my."
Well, then you looked at the card for who was going to be our masseuse, and you thought that
potentially, yeah. Nothing wrong, by the way. If you're a guy and like a male masseuse,
oh no,
that's fine. I prefer
a female.
I just personally prefer a female masseuse, and I wasn't sure too when I saw the card. I couldn't distinguish 100% if it was going to be male or female. I think almost all the Sandals properties are female. I mean,
I've never seen a male masseuse there, but it was
there
really
could
funny.
Be one,
so.
But yeah, so I was like, I'm just gonna cover my bases here.
First timers over here.
Put on my boxer briefs. But since then, we've gone and done a bunch of couples massages. They're very romantic. We highly recommend them if you can do that while you're there. Extremely refreshing.
And you can get it done, in the spa or in a cabana on the beach, whatever.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to touch on. Going back to the resorts and the differences, one of the other main reasons that I like Sandals and prefer them a little bit more than the other two is the tipping policy. At Sandals, the employees are not allowed to accept a tip except for the butlers. But, when you're sitting at the swim-up bar, you don't have to worry about having, a couple dollars to give to the bartender. And at the other two resorts, I've had that experience. One time in Jamaica, by the end of our stay at the Secrets Resort, again, it was a beautiful resort. Absolutely loved it. We had
we
a
do
great
recommend
time.
that place.
I absolutely recommend it.
We were just dry out of cash.
But we were out of cash by the end of our stay, and we got skipped over by the bartender 5 times because we didn't have some ones out for him, which, hey, I get it. I'd go to the people who are going to pay me first too, but it just makes a difference in your overall experience when you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, do I have enough ones to take to the bar today? And it's a big difference. And so that
when tipping is when you have that tipping policy, then you're in that gray area of what's expected and what's not, and what's appropriate and what's not. And it just changed the dynamic a little bit for us. Now, some people probably have gone to some of these properties where tipping's not included, and so you have to tip, and maybe they're just used to it, and that's fine, because we send couples there and they have a blast.
I've never had a complaint about that.
It's not something you have to do, I think, but
when you've been to resorts where it's not expected, then
it's a game changer.
It just makes a difference in your experience. But out of any of those 3 brands, I don't think you can go wrong. Like I said, they're all ones I recommend. When I do honeymoon quotes and qualify clients, I try to figure out exactly what they're looking to do on their honeymoon, and then some of these resorts will fit into that as to what I recommend. So now moving over to islands.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about the islands. So now we're shifting away from specific resort brands, and we're going into the top islands that we recommend.
Right.
And this is Caribbean. It's
Caribbean. Yep. It's all based on your needs. So the Dominican Republic, which we talked about, it's another great budget-friendly option. Something there for everyone. I would also recommend, sometimes people are like, no, I'm not going to Mexico, but Mexico is a great option too if you're looking for beautiful beaches and, another good budget-friendly option. It's a great place for that. And then next on the list would be Jamaica. I think Jamaica has the nicest people out of anywhere that you can travel. They're so friendly, and the personalities, they're just, they're happy to see you. And
they genuinely like to serve, I feel like.
Do.
They do love to and they love to serve, but they also love to have fun.
Yes.
And so it's very entertaining and a pleasant experience when it comes to the service that you get in the country of Jamaica. And listen, I think we covered it on the last podcast. You're going to hear from people that went on a cruise to Jamaica that walked around the port for an hour, and they're going to say, Jamaica's dirty, it's dangerous. I walked around the port, and there's stray dogs. When you go actually into the island, go fly in, go to some of these resorts, and actually truly experience the culture and meet the people, unbelievable.
Oh, absolutely.
It's my favorite island.
Yeah.
Me personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. They've got the crystal clear blue water, white sands, mountains, tons of activities to do there, so if you want a little adventure, it's perfect for that.
And this is coming from the two of us that have lost count how many times we've been in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I can't even count anymore how many times we've been there.
Yeah, it's probably been at least 10 times. But absolutely love that destination. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than the Dominican Republic and Mexico, but it's still a little bit more budget friendly than some of the other islands. And so it's a great destination. Like I said, it was something for everyone. My next one, which I know we've talked a lot about this, but would be St. Lucia.
Oh, St. Lucia. Yeah.
It is a more expensive island. It's also a little bit harder to get to. There's not as many flights there every day as there are into, say, Cancun, the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica.
Yeah. It's a volcanic island, right?
It is. It's called the Hawaii of the Caribbean.
That's what I was about to say. People compare it to Hawaii because they have these 2 peaks there called the Pitons.
Right.
And if you just Google, if you're listening to this on your phone or computer, and Google Pitons St. Lucia, that's Pitons.
Yes.
You'll see these beautiful, massive mountains that have sprung up from the small island in the Southern Caribbean, and it's just absolutely breathtaking. I think that's part of the volcanic islands have more of those peaks, and it almost visually looks like Hawaii.
Yeah, and it's a very lush green island, jungles. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful there.
If you like to hike, you can actually hike the
you
pitons.
can hike the pitons.
Will the resorts take you there? I think there's resort tours that...
Yeah, there's tours that you can do from a lot of the resorts that you can go there. Another great option.
We did the rum tour, by the way, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, another great option for St.
Don't
Lucia.
do those on the same day, rum and hiking.
Yeah, no. If you want to, do something a little extra special, is St. Lucia is one of the only islands that will offer you a helicopter transfer from the airport when you arrive to the smaller airport on the island, which is closer to all of the resorts, and then it's only like 15-minute transfer. But it's really cool because then you get to see the island from the air. It's roughly $200 a person, but worth every penny.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because we're actually going to do that.
Yes.
We're going in September for our anniversary, and we're going to do that for the first time. We've never done it ourselves. We're going to get some good footage. We'll post it on our Facebook and Instagram at Penyak Travel. Penyak, and so we're going to post a lot of content around that because I want to be able to share that experience with our clients and people that follow our pages, because that's a really cool thing to do to kind of kick your trip off with.
Right.
And the alternative is just it's like a 45-minute drive or even...
No, it's an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, wow.
And it's through the mountains, so if you get motion sickness...
I remember that. It was long, yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy ride. It's worth it, but it's not an easy ride. And if you can swing the helicopter transfer, do it.
Yeah, because we've got nothing but awesome feedback from our clients that have done that. And so we're going to definitely share some content around that. So that's like you said it's like 15-minute helicopter ride, right?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
But it's a probably gorgeous 10 minutes. I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and you get to see the island from the air. And you can also do it on the way back to the airport, too, at the end of your trip. And they have a second option where you can choose a scenic route. And it's a couple minutes longer. It's a little bit more expensive, but then they take you by the pitons. So. Oh,
that's cool. And is this a private for two? Because it's an intimate experience? Or?
It is not.
Okay.
The helicopters they seat, I believe it's up to 6 people.
Well, that's not bad.
And
I mean,
a lot
you probably
of them,
get good views still.
Right. And a lot of them, they will not go if there's not at least 4. So 2 couples.
Okay. So if you're looking for lush, if you're looking for the visuals of if you like how Hawaii looks, you've seen the pictures of that, take a look at St. Lucia. It's got a lot of activities between everything from rum tours to hiking.
And a lot less time to get there,
at
least from the East Coast.
Yeah, and we've stayed at the resorts there are great in golf, right? They have a couple
got
golf
some great
options.
golf courses there as well.
So if you're like me and love to golf, I'm not good. I'm not quite awful, but I'm like your very average, way over par player. I would still probably do 9 holes or something while I'm there because I think we're going to do that. I am definitely going to do that and take advantage of that at Latak, the place we're going in September.
Yeah,
they got golf there. So,
well, one other island that I wanted to touch on, and this is for beach lovers especially, but the island of Antigua.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not as mountainous as St. Lucia, still absolutely gorgeous, but they are known for their beaches. They have a saying that they have a beach for every day of the year because they have 365 beaches there. But if you're looking for, absolute crystal clear blue water, white sand, like you see in pictures on the internet, and, looking for a great romantic spot, Antigua is definitely the place to be.
Yeah, so and that matters because I feel like there's 3 kinds of people out there. You have pool people that love the pool and the swim up bar, and they love to just chill by a pool.
Right.
Then you have beach people that much rather prefer a massive beach so they can lounge on a chair and get their feet in the sand and get in the water. And then you have both.
Right.
We're probably a little bit of both, though I think knowing us, we're definitely more pool people.
Yeah, we tend to like to just lounge in the pool.
Yeah,
but,
we like the pool, and we like, and usually a lot of these properties that we're talking about have 2 different pools, at least 2. Some of them way more than that. And these pools are ridiculous, the size of them. I'll have to repost the video of the pool at South Coast in South Coast in Jamaica. It's just the unbelievable size of them. So we're pool people, but the difference usually between the 2 pools, you usually have one pool where it's a little more like, hey, we got pool volleyball going on, more
Right.
activities. The swim-up bars always hop
The
in.
entertainment staff there.
The music's a little more upbeat, and then you usually have another pool that's
They'll have a
separate
quiet
from that.
pool.
That's
Yes.
a lot more chill, very quiet and relaxed if you truly want to recharge the batteries. And so that's why I like a lot of these resorts we recommend, because you can get one or the other, or you can go to the beach. If you
Right.
want to go to the beach, and by the way, if you have a butler, bust your phone out, place them a call, and say, hey, I'm down here at the I'm down here at the beach at this location. Can you bring us some pina coladas or some pizza? And they're usually happy to do that.
Oh,
So,
yes, absolutely. But yeah, those are, I would say, my top 5 recommendations, especially if you're looking for an all-inclusive resort, because all of those destinations have that. I do get a lot of questions. Is this island all-inclusive, like St. Thomas or something in the U.S. Virgin Islands? And no, I mean, there's like one resort there that you could buy an all-inclusive plan at, and I just wouldn't recommend it. But
yeah.
these are my top 5 recommendations for a honeymoon. And, there's also plenty of other resorts that I've been to that I would recommend, but it's all about, what exactly you're looking to do on your honeymoon.
You
what
got
kind
to
of
get to know.
experience you want to
Yeah.
have, and, how much you want to spend. And
Yeah.
that's what we're here to do, is make sure we find the perfect fit.
Yeah, and get the best value and best bang for your buck out of your trip. And
Right.
We're given some pretty good properties and good islands to go to, but really it is, when it comes to your honeymoon, it really is so specific to what the couple is like and what they enjoy doing, both on the resort, off the resort, activities. We try
Right.
to get to know all of our clients as well as we can, and we go through all of this with them, and then we find the best resorts and give them options.
Right.
And then we usually know that based on what we know about them, these resorts are their fit, and they're
Right.
going to have, based on their personality and everything, and it's all different. Each property has its own personality. It's so complicated,
Right.
and
you know what? My favorite resort might not be your favorite resort. So, I get asked that a lot. Well, what's your favorite resort?
and we don't.
I don't answer it, because I can't answer it. Like,
because then they're going to swing and say, "Oh, well, the travel agent, this is it must be the best
yeah.
one." Well,
And,
it's the best
it's all
one for us, It's the
right?
best
And
one
it
for
all
us.
depends on what exactly you want to do. Sometimes I might feel like this one resort's my favorite, but you know what? I'm actually wanting to do something a little different. So I love this specific resort in Jamaica, and I want to go there. So
Yeah,
it's all about what you're looking to do and what fits your needs.
Yeah, in which the webinar coming up will do a great job at describing it all in a good condensed hour. And then you can literally, from the comfort of your own home, log on, join the webinar with us. I will put the link to sign up for the webinar. It's free. Just hop on there and learn. And if you want to ask a question of Janet or myself, I don't know. Janet knows way more than me.
Right.
Janet or Melissa, our sales expert that's going to be on there, beaches expert, you can actually type in a question.
Yeah.
It's real cool. So I highly recommend. It's going to be on Tuesday. What's the date again?
Tuesday, July 31st, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern. We book people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are, But please, I highly recommend. I'll put the link in the show notes. Go ahead and sign up, and then if you do want to book something with us afterwards, some of the rooms will be eligible for a $250 spa credit.
Right.
Do that, and you can knock out a couples massage. Don't get naked. Well, if you want to, you can. It's totally up to you. But I think it's a cool thing that we're putting together. And like I say, you're in your home, you're in your pajamas, you got a glass of wine or whatever, water or whatever you like to drink on a Tuesday, and just hang out and just spend an hour learning, and then fire away questions at us afterwards. We'll have Q&A. So,
right.
So, anyways, I think we're pretty close to wrapping the show up. I do want to give JetBlue a plug here, because we have some really good travel news to share. There was a really sick 3-year-old French bulldog on a JetBlue flight. And it looks like the dog was suffering from a lack of oxygen. Someone could tell the tongue and the gums had turned blue. And so what JetBlue did is they released the oxygen mask from the plane. And we got the picture here. We're going to share this on our Facebook.
Baby.
And the flight attendant, I think it was the flight attendant, someone there actually held the mask up to the dog's face, although it didn't fit. And the dog could get enough oxygen flowing where it can be fine and live and get back on the ground where most dogs belong. But really cool story. We don't see enough good news out there. There's too much negative news. We're definitely going to share this on our Facebook, but just want to give JetBlue a plug. I personally travel American a lot. We love American, but JetBlue's, a lot of these airlines, it all depends on best deal on the price. So, and there's the owner there. Look at that, reunited with his French bulldog. Lovely story. But
very cool.
Thank you all, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Please, 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 please like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you are. We're going to try to deliver the best content we can for you guys. And we don't ask for anything. If you want to use us, great. If not, you want to book online, take the advice we're given, that's cool too. But we love our clients. We love our followers. So make sure to like and subscribe at Paniac Travel. Check out our Instagram and Facebook. And we will catch you guys next time. Over and out.